Okay, so the challenge is basically to redesign a video editing app, and also answer some of these questions here. And you're only asked to do one or two of these, and so it's not a full blown like prototype. So I spent some time and created. I'll just walk through what I would do and how I got there and why. So you can see this is it. They gave these are the samples of the app. So I went through these, and I basically came back to this portion and felt this was the most important piece. This is like where the magic happens, and so I wanted to address this screen. And so I thought of, people who use video editing tools. Actually, my initial thought of this was it's overwhelming. There's too much information, like all at once, and you could even get, more anxious by having more tools. Anyways, I wanted to make this as a better experience for the user, and so I thought of like, what do people use, right? So I was imagining they use free tools, and me being an Apple user, I've used iMovie, but just to make sure, I went on Google and searched, top YouTube, like what do most YouTubers use, and they use iMovie, Final Cut Pro, and Premiere, but I didn't get the actual numbers of that, but iMovie came up first, which would make sense because it's a free app. And so I really just dove into iMovie as a reference, and I wanted to take it apart and see what they did, like reverse engineer type of thing. That's how I basically do my work. A lot of times, reverse engineering, you can create anything that way, taking things apart. So I took it apart, and then in my head, and then I came up with, if you go back to these questions, so is the design slick, lightweight, modern, right? So, and then interface for beginner, I can address that. So basically, I started with the icons. I'm not going to show, here's the whole thing, but this was the final. I put it into this like mock-up just to make it look kind of fun. But this is the interface I came up with. If you want to compare to this, and then go back to this. So you see, I think it's pretty modern. I think it's kind of slick. Anyway, so let's start from the top. This movie, it's called My Movie. You could edit this. You click in here, you get an input. It's done. It's saved. I wanted to keep this isolated by itself up in the top right as a help. And if you rolled over this, you would get tooltips for all the icons and your options, basically, and with how to. You could also do a how to this. There could be either a button, view demo, and in that demo, someone could create a movie quickly and just show that really quick in a demo video. So onto the icons. I wanted to keep this tray. All the tools are in this tray, and I wanted to define that by this tab here, and clearly that this is all one. So this, you could expand this, contract it. These would scroll within here to get your view depending on how many layers you have. And so I wanted to make it clear I ran into this issue with iMovie a long time ago, was the text. So that's why I separated the text onto its own layer, and I was like, no, the text needs to have its own like functions. Sorry, that was aggressive. Anyway, so I'll get more into this. So this would be settings, and settings would be your theme, your filters for the entire project, not for each individual selection here. So, and this would be your frame rate, your export. It would take all of this information here, and combine it into one place. And I don't know what that would look like. I did not do that, but that's the thinking here. This is undo, whatever your last, so you just click undo, undo. I didn't want to do that, however you edited this. This is to add your media. So you would click this and you would get these options: add text, add multimedia, add voice, or add music. And also another one would be turn your phone, your device into capturing, so you could actually live capture a photo or an image, your voice, whatever, and then insert it into here. These also would be manageable by a sort, so that's why I put this little sort icon, and people are familiar with this behavior, so I could drag these layers in order that I would like. So with that being said, I connected everything on, so this is the first instance. So I wanted to show this highlight of this particular section. So I'm clearly on the layer for multimedia, and this is the selected state of this layer. And because these icons are just so far apart, I wanted to show using color, so to group them. So it's a design element which connects a group. So I grouped them with color. So here you have the duration of the entire movie itself, and you're actually at 36 here, time 36. And this dividing line is everything is being shown. So that's why this is corresponding with this. Red Dawn is the layer, is the text layer. So within here, your first option is the trimming, is split, duplicate, and you would have your time setting, volume. If you wanted, say this was a video you had done and it had volume of you talking over it, and you can just mute that basically, or control how much you want that to be heard. And here's your filters for this. And I didn't set up all these options, but that would come, and these are your transitions. And I wanted to divide it. I thought Apple was really smart with this, because if compared to this, okay, I'm on here. Now you have to select all these. Here's the transition. It's like, no, there is a step in between, and this is easier for the user to understand. If you clicked on this, you would get your transition properties, your fades, your dissolve, your slide in, slide up, however you want it to transition from this screen clip to this photo. And this is a photo, so I have the icon photo, and so on and so on. And this really, it visually shows the layers, what you were working with, where they are in the timeline, when do they occur, and then each of these would have their own set of tools once you highlighted them. So that's it in a nutshell, or not in a nutshell, but I use Figma. I choose Figma because Figma is just amazing, and it's easy for me to create my sets, my components, and auto layout. Auto layout will make everything perfect. So everything has an auto layout. Trying to think, this is play, this is rewind to the beginning, and I'll go into my structure. So I made it a little design system, basically. So I started with the icons. So I searched in the plugins, and I searched for the icon set that I wanted to use. And some of them have variants. So here's two that have two variants, because I wanted to make them small, because I used the same ones for, this music icon and the audio and even the text, and so I wanted a smaller version for when you're in it. So that's why there's variants on those. And then I made the molecules. So, and this is just a beginning start. So I made the tooltip, this nav bar, the time, and here's the variants for selected states of the row for the multimedia row. And all I do is swap the instance here. Like if I go in here, you know, all I have to do is go into, instead of movie, I would swap it into whatever I wanted here. And that would show up in that. I wouldn't do it here. I would do it, and I did do it. I did it on here. So all I did was swap this state of this icon in here. And you can see it says image, but I swapped that. So back to these. Same with this row. So I wanted to create the entire row, and I just made variants of it. And since I only used, as an example, was that's why this one has a state of selected. So you can see my state is the type is default, and this is a smaller one. All I did was change the sizes of the for the text, and again, I just swapped out the instances in order to create this. And you did these, like, see, I swapped text with audio, just that instance within it, and same here, another variant of the selected state of the transition. If I went to it, I didn't even show it, but I also made a color, made sure that I had the colors. So I have video, black focus, and gray, and white. I didn't do a typography one. I should have, but I didn't use a lot of typography. So I was like, I can pretty much handle this without that. But so that was basically it. Trying to think what else. Everything's auto layout. That's my everything's auto layout. But yeah, and so then I put in this mock-up. I'm trying to think if I didn't address anything. I guess that's where Q&A comes in. But I mean, I think we're done. Thanks for watching. I probably missed something. I'm sure I just kind of freestyled this, but thank you.